In a previous video, we made the best ever sandblasting nozzle from an old spark plug. It works great. It's proven to be very durable, but I soon discovered a weak link in the chain when this ball valve here that controls the airflow started failing. So today we're going to solve that problem and build the best ever sandblasting gun for the spark plug nozzle. Coming right up. Here is the big problem with version 1.0. The spark plug nozzle is still perfect, but just look at the state of this poor ball valve right there. Yes, the abrasive material flying through here at pressurized speed managed to erode and abrade the brass body of this cheap ball valve rather quickly. When I first bought my Tunisian sandblasting pot, it came with the same type of crappy ball valve and of course those very crappy nozzles. That was the thing that got me started on the whole idea of using spark plug ceramics in the first place. I received a number of suggestions for improving this setup. They ranged from eliminating that control valve altogether right through to solenoid valves that can be switched remotely. Heck, one guy even suggested Bluetooth, as if this old school goat would even consider such complicity. There seems to be some misunderstanding amongst many of you oaks though, about the way these pressurized pots work. So let's quickly look at that for better understanding. Let's start right here. Air supply connects right there. Next we've got a safety shuttle valve and then a water trap to eliminate moisture. When I open this valve, I get air flowing through the water trap into this T-piece. It can't go that way yet because this valve is closed. So it flows along this pipe and into the top of the pot, which is typically halfway filled with abrasive. So once you open this, the pot gets pressurized to the same value as what your system provides. You have a pressure gauge here to indicate that value. Right, so follow my skew finger. Air line is connected, safety valve is open, air flows through the water trap, through the T-fitting, into the top of the tank. The tank is pressurized. This valve is also open now, so air will also flow down this hose to the bottom there. So let's go find out what's happening there. Okay, so I've just laid the pot onto its back so we can better see what's cooking down here. Here's that red hose I just talked about. We've opened the valve on the other end of it. So now currently pressurized air will flow through there, through this fitting, into the blast hose, all the way through the blasting gun. If we don't have a valve here, we will have a continuous stream of air out the blasting nozzle. Now we still haven't introduced any blast media yet. Remember, the pot is pressurized. It needs to come through there, and the only way to introduce the blast media into this flow of air is by opening this valve. And once we open this valve, we can start blasting, because now we've got blast media coming out the end of the nozzle as well. This valve here will also control the amount of blast media that gets introduced into the airstream. If I close this off, no more blast media comes in, and we'll just have basically clean air coming out the end of the gun until I close off that valve there. Now, if I do not have a valve here, let's imagine that for a minute. To start up this thing, I need to open that valve. That will introduce an airstream into my blasting hose. And I also need to open that valve to introduce the blasting grit into my blasting hose. Now we can blast. But now imagine you're standing over there, blasting something. You need to shut the system down. You've got to make your way all the way from there, back to the pot, to shut down that valve and that valve. And in the meantime, this thing is blasting grit all over the place, trying to destroy everything in its way. So it becomes quite painful and awkward. And that is the reason why I want control right there, so that I can leave these settings, that one especially, because that is controlling the amount of grit that comes in.
I can leave this one open. I can shut down my blasting nozzle while I'm over there, no problem. And if I want to start blasting again, I can just do it again by controlling it from the end of the blasting hose. This is why we're going to improve what's going on here.
So let's quickly do this to make it real and to make a mess. So I've got my air supply connected. This valve is currently closed, so is that one, and the one at the bottom of the tank. If I open this one, I will pressurize the pot immediately. Let's do that. You can maybe hear how the pot is being pressurized. Now to sandblast, I have to open both this valve to introduce airflow to the end of my blasting nozzle. Note I've got no control off there now. And the one in the bottom to introduce the blasting grid. If I only open the bottom valve, we will see blasting grid coming out of the nozzle, but not with enough pressure to blast. We would need to open this one as well. I'm going to quickly open the bottom one so that you can see what happens, and then also understand why you can't just shut it off with this valve only. So yeah, you can see it's making a mess. That grid is flowing, but not with enough pressure to blast. I would need to open this one as well. So this poor old ball valve needs to go to the scrap bin, and we must come up with something better. Now a stainless steel ball valve with a stainless steel body will certainly last longer, but even that will eventually fail, and they are freaking expensive, man. A gate valve like this one, well, that certainly won't last long with all of that blasting grid going through it. So that's not the answer either. So methinks a dead man valve of sorts is the answer here. Let's forest engineer a contraption with some steel offcuts and a few plumbing bits that I can find here in the shop. I have a 1/2 inch mild steel socket here, a 1/2 inch pipe nipple, and a piece of tubing. Now this is kind of an odd size because it measures like 27 millimeters OD, but anything in that vicinity will do. I'm going to cut both of these pipe fittings in half, and then that half piece of the nipple I'm going to weld onto the one end of the pipe like this, and the other half piece from here to the other end of the pipe. So the spark plug nozzle needs to mount right here, but currently that's a problem because it slips right into the nozzle like that. So let's come up with an idea here. This piece of 16mm 5/8 round bar is a nice fit into the end of that nipple. So I'm going to cut the short piece off and drill a 10mm hole in it, and then I want to weld it in there. Yes, that will do it. So now I can stick this into the end of the nipple, weld it into place, cut the nipple in half, and then weld that half piece with this, weld it into the end of it, here onto the end of my piece of pipe. Yeah, like so. I also welded on these two flat bar tabs, which is going to provide a hinge point for my control lever. More about that a little bit later. Then I welded that half piece of socket to the other end of my piece of pipe. This is where my hose will attach. The length of the piece of pipe I have is about 1 foot long, 300 millimeters. That's not important or critical. Whatever makes you happy. Just barbed fitting screws in here into the socket I just welded on. This is for attaching the sandblasting hose with a hose clamp. So that takes care of this end of business. Now, let's go look at the other end where all the action will be happening. When we took the spark plug apart in that previous video, this one right here, we ended up with the ceramic part and this nut. What I did next was to weld that nut onto the end of that half piece of socket, like you can see right here. We are busy making a collet of sorts. Now the spark plug nozzle can drop in right there to locate on that original Sparkplug nut piece that I welded on. Next, let's have a look here in my box of assorted O-rings. I think this one might do the trick. Let's see. Yep, that's a nice fit. Okay, so now my new nozzle collet can screw on here, and it will hold my Sparkplug nozzle very firmly in place. Thank you. You might have to adjust the length of the socket a little bit to make sure that the nozzle beds firmly. Right, now we have a sandblasting wand. Not only Gandalf has a wand now, my magic sandblasting wand. I can connect my arrows. I've got my ceramic blast nozzle. Only thing we need now is the means to control the flow of air, and that's where the dead man valve contraption is going to come into play. The first piece, so we call it a square cup. It is just a short length of 25mm 1-inch square tubing. It's probably about, I don't know, it's less than 3/4 of an inch, maybe 16mm, somewhere in that region. I capped it with about a flat bar, and then I just drilled a hole on each side that I tapped for attaching it to the lever that we're going to be building next. Before we make the lever, I scratched in my box full of rubber offcuts. Found this nice thick piece of rubber and cut that so that it can fit into my little square cup like this. I'm sure a nice thick piece of conveyor belt would work very well too. Then I made the lever from a piece of 32x5 flat bar. This whole business will become clear in a minute. Here I've got 2 tabs welded on. That will be with a pivot point where the lever hinges. Right here at the end I've got 2 other small tabs welded on, and that will be for attaching my little square cup thingy. It's attached with 2 small machine screws, M5 in my case, and it can rotate just a little bit to allow for final adjustment. Okie dokie, so we've got ourselves a nozzle holder, blasting gun, blasting wand pipe thing, and a clever lever. So now we've just got to marry them by putting in some bolts right there so that it can actually swivel. Right, let's see. So it hinges very well. I think this is going to work just great. That will be the closed off position. That rubber is blocking the airstream through the nozzle, and when you want to blast, you depress here and then and closed again. So yeah, I need to install a little spring here to keep it in a permanently closed position. I've already welded on a short bit of round bar there to help me locate the spring. So let's get that into place. Spring is in. Let's give it a test. It's permanently closed now. Haha! And stop. And stop. Yes, man. A few pointers on building this thing. Make your pipe piece and a collet first so that you can fit the nozzle. Next, you weld on the tab here for the hinge point. That can actually be a little bit closer. Could end there somewhere. And once you've done that, you make your lever and make it slightly longer than need be, especially this way. And then after you've made that little cup thing, you can just see where exactly you have to weld on the tab here, so that the rubber ends up being in the right place. The distance between here and there takes a little bit of messing around, but it's completely doable, so that it just works out the way it is here.
The next morning.
And how about that? I figured it deserved to be go fast red. Now, let's go eat the pudding. Okie dokie, let's test drive on this rusty tank right here. I got the little tank done, and I tell you, this thing is just great. It's working very well. I'm very happy with it. I tell you, in my humble opinion, this is the ultimate solution for this type of setup. Now, if you didn't see the video on how I made that nozzle from an old spark plug, go check out this one next. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me, man. I enjoyed your company. I'll see you regular oaks next week, eh? Hey, and if you're not a regular dude and you would like to become one, it's pretty easy. You just gotta touch that subscribe button thingy, and it's free. Have a lucky one, my brothers and sisters.